So today we're going to cover ACA marketplace plans versus private plans. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Health Insurance Basics series. My name is jzimmerle. I'm an independent health insurance broker. So today we're going to be looking at ACA plans versus private plans. So we're going to look at the pros and cons of both, and we're going to find out why some people may be a better fit for one or the other. This is very important to understand as a broker, because as I'm listening to a prospect and they're telling me about their situation, I'm always thinking, okay, which direction should we be heading toward? Should we be going toward ACA or should we be going towards the private side? And after this video, hopefully you'll be able to understand which side you should be looking at. So let's start with ACA plans. So ACA plans, again, ACA stands for Affordable Care Act, also known as the Marketplace, also known as Obamacare. So these are federally facilitated plans. These are plans where, depending on your household income, you can get a significant subsidy, which basically is a premium discount on your monthly bill, or depending on your household income, you may not get any subsidy at all. So it all just depends on you there. So some of the pros of ACA plans are free preventative care. So that's like going to your doctor, your primary care doctor, once a year, getting your blood work, or mammograms or colonoscopies if you're of age for that. Of course, nobody wants those, but that's part of the free preventative care that are mandated under these ACA plans. Now, I say free, obviously you're still paying your premium, so nothing is completely free, but it is free in the sense that you're not going to have to pay a copay to go get that preventative care. So that's good. People like that, right? Another thing that generally is covered pretty well in ACA plans is mental health. Now, you're going to have to pay, a copay with your ACA plan here to get mental health coverage, but it is covered there, so that is a pro. Another pro is maternity coverage. Now, I put a star beside that because it is covered, but a lot of times you have to pay your deductible first before that coverage kicks in. So the word covered there to me is a little bit misleading, because you still may, depending on your deductible, have to pay thousands of dollars before the coverage kicks in. And the big pro here for a lot of people is that ACA covers pre-existing conditions. So this is huge, right? So this is if you have health concerns, diabetes, that type of thing, things that you need medical procedures for regularly. I'm always going to be steering you toward the ACA side because you're going to want those things covered. Some of the cons here for ACA plans. One is limited networks. So ACA plans are based on your zip code. So if you go out of your zip code, a lot of times it's going to be hard to find a doctor. So if you travel a lot, these aren't the best plans because, like I said, you're going to be going out of network. It's going to be very, very localized to where you live. And another con with ACA plans is high deductibles and max out of pocket. So there's a caveat to this. If you, based on your household income, are 150% or below the federal poverty level, you will have a lower deductible or a lower max out of pocket. So that's always good. It's called a cost sharing reduction. But if you are above that 150% of the federal poverty level for your household income, you're probably going to have a pretty high deductible and max out of pocket. I think this year it's $8,700 for an individual and $17,400 for a family. So not exactly cheap there on your deductible and max out of pocket. So who's good for these plans? So like I said, people with major health conditions, diabetes, say you just had a heart attack, something like that, that you're going to need regular doctor visits for. I'm not going to be steering you toward a private option. We're going to be looking at ACA options because you're going to want those things covered. So again, let's go over here and start looking at some private options, pros and cons. So the pros over here are going to be lower premiums. So there's a caveat to that, obviously. If you get a very large subsidy on an ACA plan, you're going to have a lower premium. So it all just depends on, the amount that your household income is and the subsidy you get from that. But in general, you're going to have lower premiums if you take the subsidy out of play. The reason for that is related to the cons. So the cons of the private options is there's little pre-existing coverage. So I do have access to some plans that can give you pre-existing coverage. And I like to use these, especially if you're somebody that makes too much to get a good subsidy for the ACA plans, and they end up being really, really expensive because they're mandated to cover these things. That drives the cost of these ACA plans up. So if you don't get a good subsidy, I've still got plans that I can get you in that cover your pre-existing conditions. Also, there's little preventative care. Now, again, this is a pro and the con. So this is another reason why you can have lower premiums on these private plans. Now, with preventative care, that's, like I said, that's your kind of once a year visits to your primary care provider. So for me, for example, I go once a year to get my physical. Do I really want to pay for that preventative care when it may cost me an extra $150 a month over 12 months? Not really. I'd rather save that money, and then when I go to my primary care doctor, just pay the cash fee, which is going to be a discounted rate anyway, and just not have to pay that extra premium on every month. It just doesn't make financial sense, right? So it all just depends on your situation. And like I said, you can get private plans that'll cover preventative. It's just in general, we're talking about general traits of private plans versus ACA plans. And again, general traits, there's little maternity and little mental health coverage on private plans. This is not a rule for all of them, because I do have access to some that cover mental health. And in fact, I've got access to a maternity plan that I love that you can essentially have a baby for $350. So wish I had known that when we had our kids. We certainly paid a lot more than that to have ours. But so again, these are just general traits for each. Now, a pro of a private plan is larger networks, right? So with most private plans, you're going to get a PPO network. If you go back to my network video, you can learn more about that. But essentially that just means is your network isn't going to be confined to your zip code or your local area. So this is great for travelers. So anywhere around the nation, it's going to be really easy to find a doctor in network, and you're going to get that network discount. So again, you're going to have, in general, a lower deductible and a lower max out of pocket on these private plans. So that's another pro of the private plans. Now, going back to ACA plans, if you do qualify based on your household income for a really good subsidy, a lot of times what I can do is build in some supplemental coverage using that discount for not much more. I'm talking maybe $100, a little over $100 more, and we can get this ACA plan to actually function more like a private plan, which is great because then you kind of get the best of both worlds. But that's, again, only if you're getting that really good subsidy, then I can use that discount that you get to build in to essentially wrap this ACA plan and really good coverage. Again, or actually next video, I'm going to do a video on supplemental coverages because that's really important to understand. If you use a broker that knows what they're doing, you can actually get a lot of times richer benefits for a lower cost. But we'll go into that in the next video. So again, these are the pros and cons of both. There's no one size fits all. What I do is I look at this objectively and I determine based on you or your family situation, which direction we should head in. It's not, everybody isn't right for a private plan and everybody isn't right for an ACA plan. It really just depends, as usual, as I always say, on you and your specific situation. All right, guys, I know that might seem like a lot, but this is what I do every day. So if you work with a broker like myself, you're gonna have access to every option, private side, ACA side, and I'm always gonna steer you in the right direction every time and try and get you the highest benefits for the lowest cost. So again, thanks for tuning in. Next time we're gonna go into supplemental coverages. It's very important as well, and I'll see you on the next one.